Well, there's really three things that you need to do in order to build your personal brand. But before I get into that, it's important to kind of step back for a second and understand, because I think sometimes people misunderstand the idea of branding, and especially the idea of personal branding. And I think there's a big difference between personal branding and branding you and your services and what you do versus if you're some big company like Coke or Pepsi or something like that and you're doing branding. And the big difference is that those companies have, the resources, they have the revenue, they have the team, they have the time, and they have, frankly, the desire to get into all of this intricate nuance of branding. And I think sometimes people who are looking to build their personal brand and who are building lifestyle businesses can get caught up in what is really designed for those companies. I think when you're a lifestyle business owner, when I think you're building a personal brand, when you're just a regular dude like I am, that you need to keep it really simple and just focus in on the most important things. And so there, like I said, there's three things, and this method that I teach is really designed for someone who is building a personal brand, someone who is a lifestyle entrepreneur, and is building a business around themselves. Okay, so I want to make sure and put that in the proper context, because I know there's people who'll be watching this and start to dive into all of this different nuance, and I don't want anybody to get really caught up in that. This approach is the approach I've been using for the last 10 years as a freelancer, and it is pretty much, it's responsible for 99% of everything that I have and I've been able to build is this approach. And I mean, if you look at my sales page on my site for my services, it's not the most hard-hitting direct response copy. It is hardly the reason that people hire me. People hire me because of the branding that I do, and the branding that I do is based off content. So if there's one thing for you to get from this video, it's that your content is your brand. Okay, so what I mean by that is the content that you put out is how people are going to come to know you and see you and position you in the grand scope of the entire market that you happen to be in. All right, so there's three pieces to then having some control over that and getting it right. The first is the topics that you talk about. Okay, so this is the overall industry. Now, it's really simple and basic, but a lot of people kind of miss the mark on here because they don't put out the right content for the industry that they're really in. So, for example, if you go to my YouTube channel and you just go to the video section and look at all my videos, you see that a lot of my past videos were technical training videos. And the reason that they're technical training videos is that I was looking to get hired for freelance services, and I was providing technical coding as my service. And so I put out that kind of content in order to attract people who were looking for that and convince them to become a client. Okay, so it makes sense that that's the kind of content that I would put out. Now, lately, if you look at those videos, you'll see that I've been putting out content more based around freelancing, videos like this about getting more business, getting more clients, getting clients to hire you, and so on. There's a reason for that, because I'm making a switch to teaching freelancing stuff. So it makes sense that the content that I'm putting out needs to also change to fit now what I'm doing. And it's simply because I've been doing freelance for 10 years. I've had a lot of success with it. And teaching is really my passion, and I want to get into more of that. And even though I put out a bunch of technical training, the questions I get most often are about getting clients, getting business, and so forth. So I'm just serving a need that's out there, right? But the point is that changing the content is changing the brand. I'm repositioning myself. I'm rebranding myself, and I'm doing that by putting out different content. So the topics that you in general talk about are the first part of your brand. They're telling the client who you are and what you're about. Okay, so you need to create the kind of content that's going to attract the right kind of people to your services. So again, a quick example, if you're selling jQuery services, you wouldn't want to put out a bunch of PHP videos. It doesn't make sense. You would want to have your videos targeted to what it is that you offer for your services. Okay. So that's the first really big point, is targeting correctly, and making sure that the topics that you're talking about are directly in line with the services or products that you provide. The second thing then is the methods that you use. So if you look at the topic area that you're in, or the industry that you're in, there's probably hundreds or thousands of other people who are in that same industry, and they're all probably out putting content. And so you have to find a way to differentiate yourself. It's really the second question that a customer is going to ask. First one is, who are you? The second one is, what do you do? What makes you unique? Why should I go with you instead of somebody else? And so positioning the methods that you use and being able to clearly articulate those methods, define and articulate them, and then also how you position them is what's going to help you create a unique space in your prospect's mind. Now, if you go back to this video, I started off this video doing that exact thing. I positioned what I'm teaching by saying that it's not for someone who's looking to build a big, massive business, or it's not for big companies who have all this revenue to do all these, expend all these resources and so forth. This is for someone who's a lifestyle entrepreneur who doesn't have a bunch of time to really sit around and think about this, who's building a lifestyle business, and it's a simple process for branding yourself in a way that is going to attract the right kind of clients. Right? So I positioned what it is that I'm teaching, and I did that specifically so that I can attract the right kind of people. Because if someone who's more interested in big company type branding were to come, and maybe jump on my mailing list and check out my products, it's not going to work for them, right? Because that's not what I'm teaching. And so you have to find people who are the right fit for what it is that you teach. And you do that by putting out content, showing them what it is that you do, what you teach. Okay. And then just making sure to take some time to position it properly, tell people who it's for and who it's not for. If you do that, then you're going to attract the right kind of leads, and they'll be a lot more likely to not only become customers or clients, but be happy customers and clients because they know what your approach is. They're in line, or they resonate with your approach, and it's just going to make everything go a lot more smoothly. The final thing then is the value that you deliver. And so, if it's products, then it's, does what you're teaching actually work? If it's services, it's, are you reliable? Can you deliver? Right? And so, it really becomes about your reputation, and whether you can actually deliver on what you promise. Now, I've kind of found two things that really make this easy to handle. The first is the obvious one. You need to deliver on what you promise. So if you say you're going to do something, you need to deliver it. An example would be if you go to my website right now, you'll see an offer on there to get my 7 strategies to turn your code into cash cheat sheet, right? So when you enter your name and email to get that cheat sheet, you get the cheat sheet. That, again, it's simple and obvious, but you really need to make sure you deliver and make sure that what you're delivering is of value, okay? The second thing, and maybe the not so obvious thing, is that you want to make sure you over deliver in some way. So again, if you go and you subscribe to my mailing list to get that cheat sheet, when you land on the download page, there's also a 45-minute video where I actually walk through the cheat sheet, explain each strategy, and everything that's important for implementing that strategy successfully. Now, I don't say anything about that in the offer. It's nowhere, it's nowhere on the offer page or anything. So the video is an extra that you're getting that you wouldn't be expecting. And that kind of surprise, especially one that valuable, one that's probably maybe even more valuable than the cheat sheet itself, that's the kind of surprise that's going to wow your customer or wow your client, wow your lead, and get them to really be attracted to you, to pay attention to you, to like you, and be a lot more likely to become a customer or client. And then if you do the same thing when they become a client or a customer, then you start to create this long-term kind of expectation that you're always going to over-deliver, you're always going to do more, and it becomes a lot easier for people to want to buy your products or hire you for their services. right? So those are the three things that ultimately make up your personal brands: the topics that you cover, the methods that you use, and the value that you deliver. If you get those three things right, then you can create a really solid personal brand that will really stand in the marketplace and allow you to really kind of decide for yourself what kind of income you want to make. Even though I've been kind of moving away from freelancing and been in the process of kind of trying to tone that part of my business down, it's really hard to turn off because I have 80 some videos out there that are out there branding for me and essentially selling my services for me. I can't turn those off, So it becomes really difficult to actually turn off, and it gets to the point where you end up turning down more clients than you take on. And that's the point that I've been at it for a while. So again, those are the three kind of steps or three components of your personal brand, and how to brand yourself to the point where when they show up on your sales page for your services, they're probably not even reading it. They probably know everything about you. They may check a few things in terms of prices and so forth, but they're just clicking the quote request button and getting a quote from you. It's not about the sales page at all. Right? So the key here is, if you're not creating content, you need to be creating content. That's the key to all of this. And you need to be creating the right kind of content to attract the right leads who are going to be your ideal customers.